Hello ladies and gents, welcome back to a hand picking video. It's been quite a while since I've done one of those, but here we are. I decided it's time. Had a lot of stuff on my plate recently. I've had 2 kids and taken up new hobbies, and most of my day's work is picking locks, so when I get home I want to do something a bit different if I have any spare time. But here we are. I cleaned out the van, and this was one of the locks that I've changed for a customer. This came out and it is a Zone 1-star British Standard lock with the dual finish. Not my favorite, but there we go. It was a thumb turn lock. We've already taken the liberty of dismantling most of that and the clips off as well, as you can see. So when we've picked this, if we pick this, we will gut it and have a look what's in there, because we have picked it once before and it felt very strange as we picked, so I would like to see what's in it. Let's see if we can get it in a reasonable time here. I'm using a deeper hook here, as I believe the key pattern, I don't have the key obviously, but the key is quite up and down. The first weird thing about this lock is it seems to me like all the pins are springy from front to back. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. They all appear springy, so it's actually a sprung pin that we're looking for that gives us the first click. And once we get that first click, it appeared like we could then begin to pick the lock. Okay, we got the click. So now things start to bind and do what we want. Let's zoom in a little bit there. Okay, so now we've got a binding pin, a nice click there, and pin 1, and a bit of a turn on the core. Now we can look for any feedback now that we've got that core turned a little bit. Let's see. Pin 1, it feels like it's giving counter rotation. Slipped off the pin there. There we go. We got it picked and the core turned a bit deeper. Let's see what else we have. Pin 3, we nudged and we went even deeper, so he needs picking. There we go. Now it's much better feedback this time around than the first time I picked it. We've got one here. Okay, moving backwards. Right at the very back here, counter. Okay, we got a click out of that guy at the back, but we don't have as deep a false set as what we previously did. So something could have dropped, or we could have overset something if there's spooled key pins or something like that. I'm hoping not, but let's keep picking. There we go, there's something at the back, but we've got it open, thankfully. Okay, so let's see if we can't make a disaster out of gutting this now. We're going to use a shoe, hopefully. There we go. Now then, what can we use? Where's our hook that we've just this second had in our hand? There it is. This is what happens when your bench looks like mine does. Okay, that was the cam dropping from under my finger. Here comes the plug. Ooh, what is that? Oh, that's the anti-snap sacrificial point. Now, I can't come out beyond this for some reason. Ah, there we go. Interesting shaped plug there. Don't notice anything fancy with the plug other than we got the steel pin up in the front there. We will, I'll pull up a little pin mat here, and we'll take the pins out of that shortly. I'm gonna just pop that into a little loader here for the time being. And we will take the pins out from the Bible first. What's the best way? We'll put a follower in. Okay, again dropping out there was some other part of the cam system. So this won't be as easy as it should be because the follower isn't as long as the cylinder, but I will lay my mat out here and off we go. Pin 1. Okay, it's kind of like a barrel style pin. It's hard for me to focus the camera there at the moment, you can see, but we'll get a zoom down shot of the pinning mat once we're done. So here we go, progressing on. Pin 2, we got appears to be a spool. More lugs are dropping out from the thumb turn part at the back there as I push the follower through. As I suspected, there's nothing fancy going on other than that first pin, but that shouldn't give us any issues. Standard. It's a stepped pin, that one. Remember the spool. And finally another spool. So nothing overly fancy, to be honest. Let's pop it out here, have a quick look. Maybe different length springs, but not really. It is obviously a 6-pin core. Okay, we'll set that down for the time being, and let's see if we can adjust. Really haven't made the space here for this. We'll adjust around here like this. Zoom in a bit. Here we go. So we're going to now dump the key pins out. Okay, so there is a step on the key pin. I'm going to try and orient it the right way around. So I'm glad they're not just standard. Okay, and indeed we've got a torpedo pin. Very good. That will explain the oversetting issues that we had. Felt like a spool that we were picking, but obviously if it was overset, then you weren't ever going to get it picked. Here's another spool. Final pin, another spool. Torpedo, should we call it. Okay. Let's pop that down and have a quick look at what we've got. So there we go. A slight stepping on the key pin there at the nearer to the shear line, and then 2 ridges on like a barrel pin almost, and then we've got torpedoed or spooled mushroom, let's say, key pins followed with spools on the drivers. There is a slight step there at the top of this driver as well. All in all, gave some pretty funky feedback, but there we go. Very interesting. I hope you've enjoyed a hand picking video. I don't typically tend to make too many of these anymore, as we've got lots of other wonderful tools to review and look at. So, but every now and again we'll come back and we'll pick a lock. So, hope you enjoyed it, and I'll catch you again very soon.